Hey guys, welcome to this video on the R programming language. So in this video, we're going to talk about subsetting, which is just getting a literal subset of your data. So let's go ahead and get started. Suppose that I have a vector, call it X, and it contains the values 12, 13, 56, 4, 5, and 89. All right, so let's go ahead and print that to the console. Now, let's suppose I only want a subset of this data. I only want the values where they're equal. I'm sorry, where they're greater than 10. So I only want the values that are greater than 10 in our vector x. So how do I do that? I can just say x and then say x greater than 10, and this will give me a subset of my data where all the values are greater than 10. Now, let's suppose that I want to change these values to be 4. So how do I do that? Well, I just do the same thing. So I already have that subset of data, and I just set x equal to 4, and this will change everything in x where the value is greater than 10 to 4. So let's print out x, and you can see that we get 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 4. I might have missed or overwent too many 4s there, but basically what it did is it changed all the values that were greater than 10, the 12, the 13, the 56, and the 89, and set them equal to the number 4. All right, so now let's work with some external data. I have a CSV file on my desktop here. So I'm going to create a variable called dataset, and it's going to be our data frame. And we're going to read in our CSV file. So we have to use or we don't have to use, but we're going to use the read.csv function, and it is located on my desktop, so I have to put in the exact location since it's not in my working directory right now. All right, so it's on my desktop, and now I need to put in the name of the file, which is hw1 and then underscore data.csv. And let's print out our data set now. Okay, and what you can see is we have a data set with 153 rows, and then it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. And you see that there's some missing values in this data set called NA. All right, and now we're going to do a lot of manipulation with this data. So let's suppose that we only want to extract the first 2 rows of this data. So we only want a subset of the data. We only want the first 2 rows. How do we do that? Well, we can use the function called head, and head's going to take in our data set, and we tell it to only return us the first 2 rows. So we put the number 2 there, and now we get just those 2 rows like we wanted. And now another way that we could do that is I can say data underscore set, and I can say give me rows 1 to 2, and then put a comma and a space. The space means give me all the columns. So give me rows 1 to 2, and space means give me all the columns back. And I just press enter, and it's the same thing. We get the first 2 rows with all the columns. Another way that we could do this is instead of me using the 1:2, I can put in a vector 1, 2, C1, 2, and we get back the same thing. We get back 2 rows and all the columns, the first 2 rows and all the columns. All right, so now maybe we want to know the number of rows in our data. Of course, we can see it's 153 here, but another way that we could do it is we can use the nRow function and just put in our data set, and it gives us back the number 153. All right, now maybe we want to extract the last 2 rows of the data frame. So to do that, all we have to do is type tail and then put in our data set, and then tell it we want the last 2. So we put the number 2 there, press enter, and we get back the last 2 rows of our data set, which is right here. Alrighty. Now suppose we want to know what the value of ozone is in the 47th row. So what we could do is we can go to our 47th row here, of our data set, and go to column ozone. So ozone is the first column, and row 47, so it's 21. So another way that we could do that, though, if our data set was huge and we didn't want to look through it like that, is we can simply just say data underscore set, and then 47, that's our row. So row 47, and then we want column 1, right? Our first column is ozone. So we get back 21. But suppose that we don't know what number ozone is in. Well, we can simply put ozone here for our column name, and again we get back 21. All right, so now let's maybe we want to find the missing values in the ozone column. Maybe we only want a subset of our data frame with those missing values in the ozone. So how do we do that? Well, I could create a variable called sub, and I'm going to use the function called subset, and subset is going to take in our data set, and we're going to use a function called is.na. So this lets us know where the values are in A on a column within our data frame. So the column is ozone. So we want a subset of our data set where the ozone column is in A. All right, press enter. So now we're going to type sub to see what the data looks like. And now you see we get a subset of our original data set. And the ozone column has nothing but NA values in it. So now maybe we want to know how many missing values are in the ozone column of this data frame. Well, for that now, all we have to do is just do in row of our sub data frame, and we get back 37. So there's 37 rows here, and that's the answer also for our original data set as well. All right, now suppose again that we still want to know the number of rows for our original data set. We want to know how many missing values are in the ozone column. Another way that we could do that, besides doing this subsetting function, which I think that's the best subset function you can have. You can do so much with it. And then using in row, another way that we could do this is using the sum function, and we could take in is NA function, and again we're going to tell it the column to work on. So data set $, ozone. So it's telling us to sum up this this data set, or this vector. So let's go ahead and press enter here, and we get the number 37 as well. Alrighty, now, maybe we want to remove missing values using something, using a function or something like that. Maybe again, let me type out the data set. So you can see it has a lot of NA values in it everywhere. In that column, it has some in this column. So maybe I don't want a data set with all those NA values. I want to get rid of them. So how do I do it? I can use na.omit function and then put in our data set. And now you'll see that we get back a data set here of nothing but values that don't have NA. So all of the NA values are gone. All right. Another way that we could do that is we could say data set then complete cases data underscore set, comma, get back all the columns, and it gives us basically the same thing. All right, now last but not least, maybe we want to know what the maximum ozone value is in the month of May. So in order to do that, again, I'm going to use the subset function. So it's going to give us our data set. I'm taking our data set. We want the month to equal May, which is 5 here because the month is all numbers. And where it is not NA for the column ozone. And we want the ozone column returned. Okay, so this won't give us the max, but this will give us the subset of that data. So it's going to give us just the ozone column where the month is 5 and where there are no NA values. So let's go ahead and print out sub. And that's exactly what we get. And we can see that the max value is 115. So how do we get that value without just looking at the data? Is we could use a function called apply, and apply will take in our sub data frame, and we want it to work on columns, so we put 2 for columns, and then we tell it the function to use on our column. So it's max. And this gives us back the maximum value in our column. So thank you guys. I hope this was very helpful. Please leave likes, questions, comments. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, thanks for watching, and I see y'all in the next video.